Пошли. Все вместе. Какие ваши доказательства?
They want you to comply.
Cancel culture is about canceling.
Кокаином.
Up yours. Woke moralists. Up yours.
This is systematic bullying that's happening.
Woke moralists. Up yours.
And they believe that they can then
Woke
shut us
moralists.
up.
Up yours. Woke moralists.
They seem animalistic is what I mean.
No, they're worse than animals.
The woke mob, they ruin everything.
They stop Ben Shapiro from going to events and speaking. They stop Ann Coulter from doing it.
I will never surrender even a single inch of ground to a pitchfork mob.
You never cave to the mob.
We will never bow to the mob. Ever. No matter what.
Do you see the final expression of cancel culture in terrorist groups like
Up yours.
We'll see who cancels who.
Welcome to the Leftist Mafia podcast. And everyone else is going to come in shortly. Here's Lance. There we go.
Lance.
And we have a guest today that Olay, do you want to introduce?
Yes. Okay, so y'all know I don't usually know who anybody is. I don't watch anybody's stuff. I don't whatever. But I beat this channel so bad. This is Kennie JD. She does bad movies in a beat, and I live for it. That's the only thing. Saturday, I'm like, oh, she uploaded. Let's go. So, yeah, I tweeted. I was like, dog, I would love if Kennie JD would be our guest. And they tweeted at her, and she said, yeah. I was like, let's fucking go. So I'm excited about this one. So let's go.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the show.
Yeah. I'm sorry to have you here.
I am so sorry.
Right.
No, I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, we're all fighting a little bit of fatigue today, especially David. He is a father, so he has an excuse. I do not.
My son went home sick today, so I had to pick him up. I couldn't do any work, and it was just.
No!
I'm exhausted.
so sorry.
Yeah,
he's actually. I mean, he had a fever, but he's actually fine. So.
I'm not tired. I'm just fried. Y'all know the deal.
Yeah, I'm just exhausted physically, mentally, emotionally, but I'm happy to be here. This is like a therapy session, kind of, So it's nice to talk to like-minded people and friends. So I'm happy to be here.
Why physically? Have you been trained?
I just didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Sometimes have insomnia, and last night was one of those nights, so I'm like trying to prep for videos for today, and I'm like, I don't want to talk about anything. I have, when you have like brain fog and you can't push through it, and you feel like even words, like when you say them, they sound weird. Like, when you repeat a word multiple times and it sounds weird, like every word sounded like that. I'm like, dude, I just need to sleep. But I did.
I don't know how y'all manage that in general, like streaming all the time and doing like content daily and responding to things. Like, I'm like always impressed that y'all managed to give that much of a fuck to be able to do it, like to keep up. Like, even if I wanted to, I feel like I just don't. I genuinely do not care about more.
I set a standard very early. I set a standard very early that everyone should expect very little from me, and it's been working very well. And no one's like surprised when they don't get much.
I wish I set that standard early on.
No, you gotta lower the bar, man.
Low bar. I love it.
Lower the bar to as bare bone as possible.
It's really daily. Lance, straight up. I've been like watching the Serfs, like tuning in, like me in the chat. Like I love me. Lance's stream, and I just be like, and I literally explain to my friends, I'm like, dog, Lance has been on here for hours. Talking to people about the news, like just consistently, he's been on this just news after news after news. I'm like,
I take Fridays off now. No more Fridays. I've stopped doing Fridays. Fridays I make YouTube content. I write stuff, and I do Zen, whatever it takes, that kind of stuff.
I have so many questions in regards to like avoiding burnout for people that are like daily uploaders or streamers or people that can
don't use Twitter.
Don't use Twitter. Yeah.
That's weird. Like, Lance, you're always on Twitter. How do you even?
Right,
and I'm the main villain. My God, the past couple of weeks, I have been getting roasted, son, and I have been doing roasting. It's been back and forth. I feel like that meme where it's the sicko, where it's like the guy at the mirror is like, yes, good. Like I feel like that sometimes. I'm like, I'm getting it so hard, but I'm going back, baby. Oh, I'm gonna roast all these trans folks.
A little bit of masochism.
I don't know what it is. I don't know. Addiction, whatever. It's yeah.
I too be on people's heads. I be trying to like, it's, you see all these like important people and like serious, calm people following you, and it's like, oh, you follow me because my intellectual takes, and I'm really about to go tell this person go fuck themselves. No, definitely trying to like space it out. Like I try to like bury. I'm like, oh, I don't want that. Let me cat photo. I was like, see the cat.
No, they knew what they were doing when they got there, so I go as hard as you can.
For me, the way that I personally avoid burnout is I just make sure that I don't force myself into any sort of routine that I end up hating. Like there are these times where I kind of feel pressure to respond to every single big political news story, but then I remind myself it's okay to just like talk shit about Charlie Kirk for a video. Like that's fine. Like mentally, you can use that as a little bit of a break, and it's fun. Because like you kind of like, at least for me anyways, I developed these habits. Oh, am I super loud? Okay, let me adjust that. You develop these habits. Let me move away.
Yeah, you're very loud.
That are that kind of put you in a bad space, and it leads to burnout. How does that sound in terms of volume?
Sounds fine to me.
Okay. But yeah, like just don't like, I guess, level your expectations for yourself too. That's kind of my thing, because I mean, politics, it's not just like those of us online, like the influencers, for lack of a better word. Like everybody has brain rot because politics is so rotten in America, like the climate is so terrible. So it's the same for everyone. Yeah, exactly.
I hate when people be fighting you to have a take on something. It's like, can you please talk about this? I'm like, if I had anything truly groundbreaking to say, don't you think I'd have volunteered the information? Like, you know what I mean? Like I might have said it, right? Like you begging me to say some shit, and you probably none of us are gonna love my contribution to the topic. Let's just like, what is a thing I get often that makes me want to like jump off my balcony? People are like, and I seen it like when I launched my show, they're like, Olayemi, please take some time to talk about your home country, Nigeria. I'm like, okay, see, we back to this. My home country is the Bahamas. I'm like, the first and foremost. Second of all, I am not qualified to do the Nigerian news. Why would you ever want that? There are millions of Nigerians, all kinds of experts, Nigerian pundits, and you want me, a bitch who knows nothing about Nigeria other than my daddy is from there, to get what do you want me to say? I'm like, I don't even listen, y'all. Stop.
I mean, and a lot of people want like. I guess we're going like a lot of people want Black women to be like a mouthpiece for everything, and it's like it's kind of exhausting. I don't know everything, and I shouldn't have to know everything. So like, here we go.
I love videos.
Thank you. Okay, so this was like a last second choice. I always do nude, and I've gotten so many compliments on this. Can you stop, please? Sorry, my dog is down here.
Can we see your dog?
Oh, what kind of? Yeah, what kind
can
of
we see the dog?
Look at things.
Everyone's like, oh, doggo.
Mike said, can I see the dog?
Russet.
Very
She's 6 months old, and she's a little menace.
How old is she?
6 months.
Oh, 6 months.
Oh, 6 months. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, what a baby.
She's a baby.
Yeah,
And she just went to the vet today, and she's very upset because they had to do
the little butthole thing, and she was very, very upset about it. So she's being a little menace, but okay. But yes, but yeah, it's like
I'm not Igbo in the comments. That's you see, not people trying to chin check me about being a knockoff Nigerian, which I am, but you two clearly are not you two are not qualified because they say, wait a minute, Olay doesn't speak Igbo because her dad is Nigerian. My dad, I'm Yoruba. See? You see why you need to stay out my business? Like, you see why you need to stay out my business. Okay? I'm a proud knockoff Nigerian. I know what it is. Right? I stay in my lane. Okay? Thank you. Proceed, y'all, with intelligent discourse. Blair, come through.
Oh my God, I don't have anything intelligent tonight. I was preparing housekeeping for the night.
Oh, wait. Before we start, everyone's asking in my chat, Kennie, an introduction. Where can we find your socials?
Oh.
Who are you? Sorry, I joined late.
Hi.
Yeah, no.
My name's Kennie or Kendall, whichever you prefer. I'm mostly on YouTube, Kennie JD. These days I make a series where I talk about terrible movies, movie reviews in general these days a lot, while putting on my makeup. And I've been told I'm kind of funny, so you might enjoy it. So Kennie JD on YouTube, Twitter. My Twitter's kind of a mess, but Twitter, if you want to get really a little bit more real than probably is appropriate. If you want to get down.
That's just so relatable. Everybody's Twitter is not an accurate representation of who they are as a person. Like for me, I am probably
I disagree.
Chill.
It's the other way around.
On Twitter, I'm an animal.
On Twitter, I'm actually pretty much exactly like I am on the internet.
I think I water certain things down for YouTube, weirdly enough, more so than Twitter. I'm just like the basest person I can be possibly in that quick character.
Kennie, you have almost 700,000 subscribers. You are so humble.
I told you.
Go check out my channel. We're all small time right now. I hope you
you missed the fangirl intro. Okay,
I
came in and let y'all know what was up.
It's a lot of fun though, because everyone's really chill over there, so it's it's cool. So it's fun. If anyone wants, and I guess if anyone cares to know, after I get off of this, I'll be editing Saturday's video, and it was a movie that felt like it gaslit me the entire time, and I was so excited to rant about it because it was very frustrating. If anyone wants to watch it, it's free on Tubi. It's called Say Yes. Say yes, and it's awful. And I love horrible movies, so that's kind of the main shtick these days.
Can we get you to react to or review Michael Knowles' student film?
Oh,
sure.
We
watched a little bit of that last week.
We're not doing that here.
I posted a clip of that to my second channel, and it got 50% dislikes because the conservatives were very, very adamant that they defend Michael Knowles, which was surprising to me. And also the same is true for Jordan Peterson. Whenever we shit on Jordan Peterson, the fans come out, and it's crazy that he still has so many dick riders. But I mean, I'm not it's just amusing to see it.
I was considering doing. Not that I'm particularly averse to being a bit more. I think I'm sure that my viewers kind of know my political leaning. It's pretty obvious. I was gonna do a video. They made a biography of Rudy Giuliani that looked
nice,
just incredible.
Who is it? Is it like HBO or
him in a positive light or a negative light?
Negative. Well, not even negative or positive. It's just his life, and it looks terrible, and I'm excited to just rip it to shreds because it just sounds like a fun time. It's I want to say it was on a Lifetime or something. I want to burn it, someone said. That seems pretty accurate. Rudy Giuliani.
People are asking in the chat, did he marry his cousin? Yes, he did. He married and fucked his cousin.
Yeah,
yes,
and
he's a cousin fucker. No question about that.
They show the love story, quote unquote, of how.
No.
Yeah, they show him, walking on the beach, and it's like a whole thing.
Hanging out with the family on Christmas. Oh, hey.
On the list, and I just haven't gotten around to it. Movie. What was it called? Oh dear.
Can't argue with love.
Rudy, the Rudy Giuliani story.
Life finds a way.
Rudy Giuliani story. Okay.
Played by James Woods.
Oh God.
And it's apparently free on Prime Video.
Okay.
I would hope you wouldn't have to pay for that.
I would hope not.
Right.
I've paid for arguably worse as of just for the, for content. What can I say? Like, I think the thing that I'm most ashamed of is that in order to make a video about this very obscure movie from like 2005, I had to buy it, and now it's like in my purchase history, and I'm very ashamed of it.
It's for your job. You have an excuse.
Exactly. And if anyone wants to guess, I've made a video off of it a long time ago, but it was a movie that Gabrielle Union was in.
I was about to guess it. I was like, it's the one where she's like mentally ill with the Nazi, and they have them get together. Wow.
She falls in love with a Nazi in a
Wait, Rudy Giuliani?
No.
No.
Well,
we moved on. Sorry.
Sorry. Well, theoretically, we could blend in. Speaking of which, she falls in love with a Nazi, and it's like from 2005. So they're like marketing it as this like love that transcends all.
Oh no!
And it's the worst shit ever. And I wanted to watch it so bad, and I couldn't find it. So I had to buy it on DVD, and I was very upset. It was like $5, and I was like, "How do I explain this to people?" I swear to God, it's not just because I'm like into it. There's a reason we're here. Hello, Bubba.
Oh my goodness.
She's like, I'm making noise because you're ignoring me. One time I was in the middle of a meeting and she started pushing her nose against the escape button. She was very not okay with it.
Intelligent dog.
She's very smart.
Yeah.
Disturbing.
So what happened this week, guys? Any news? Anything happened this week?
Well, I have a couple housekeeping things if y'all don't mind for a quick
Sure.
second.
Yeah.
Yes,
One, I do have our question form up. Two, we have our subreddit, which is officially like in place and everything. reddit.com/r/the Leftist And I just dropped links today for everyone for the Discord server, which is officially operating. We officially have a working Discord server.
Hell yeah.
So,
Thank you so much for setting that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
So we got that going. I'll put the links for you guys in the StreamYard thing. So that's the Discord. And yeah, come on in, join. We have mods and everything set up, and everything should be good to go. And we'll be checking it out and seeing what you guys post in there and everything. So feel free to hop on in. Otherwise, today's topics, a lot of people want to talk about right off the bat. The Lance and Tim Pool situation on Twitter and the Anna Turfey tweet. Those are the top questions right now.
You all love getting us in trouble.
The compound.
Yeah, let's hear this Lance thing.
Well, I got invited to the compound. It's my first offer. I'm excited. Matt Binder's been there before.
Join the club.
I'm ready. I'm ready to be cleansed. I got way too beanie horny. I'll be honest with you. As soon as I saw that post that he made, I was like, debate now. Come on, Skype, Discord. And then obviously he doesn't want to do that right away. So I'm gonna wait for a proper formal invite. So and at which point I will go to the Tim Pool compound and I think discuss some matter topics. That will be of interest. Yeah, that's probably the best way to put it.
Lance, I have to add, don't you ever say beanie horny in the same sentence when you're talking about Tim Pool ever again.
It's quite the setup there because they got it's 5-on-1 basically, right? It's like Tim
5-on-1, and Matt, you can correct me, but you don't have access to internet, right? You gotta have everything.
I mean,
here.
you should if you bring you should now that you could bring a laptop, which I was not informed about.
I would like to do that. Awesome.
But you can bring a laptop, yes. But I would say don't get too caught up in it. I think just go with what you know instead of going back and forth with obviously if there's something to double check, but I wouldn't just go back and forth on questions that you're Googling, you know what I mean? The whole time.
Oh, yeah, but that's how I live my life now. ChatGPT 4. But actually, it's what I say. Everything that's coming out of my mouth right now is actually ChatGPT 4. It's just in real time.
They always go down these super weird rabbit holes or bring up like random facts that aren't actually facts. Like this is the issue with a lot of the way with any debate with the right wing is they will just make shit up. And then you check later, it's like that didn't actually happen, that wasn't true, or they misconstrued the data. Like so it's like fighting a wall, like trying to get a point across if they're gonna try and pull some of that shit, which they do all the time. At least Tim Pool does, I've seen. So
I gotta ask you both, David and the rest of the panel. Do you think it'd be inappropriate to also have demands? Because I feel like my flesh is being bought by this, and I'm fine with that. I'm willing to sell my flesh.
What do you mean
But
demands?
I'm just saying.
What do you mean?
Well, I just mean like, do you think I could get a billboard out of it? Like he buys New York Times billboards. Could I get like?
He's not going to give you a billboard.
No,
Yeah, you're not going to get a billboard, Chief.
Okay.
I think that you should be a diva.
All right, well,
but maybe not to that
I
extent.
want to be a diva. I want to be a diva.
This may come as no surprise, but I don't know who Tim Pool is, what the compound is.
Have we not covered a Tim Pool clip on the show
I
before?
feel like y'all have been speaking in special terms this entire conversation.
I am so embarrassed because I've been sitting here like, should I know? Yeah. I'm assuming it's the right wing person getting
like, I'm not on that part of Twitter.
This is a reminder to me that there are all these rabbit holes and discussions and debates and fights that happen that literally the vast majority of people have no idea exist or even happening.
Yeah,
like Tim Pool has a massive show. He's had a billboard in Times Square.
Multiple billboards.
You still know who he is, and that's
yeah.
that just shows us that a lot of people don't know who the hell these people are.
Yeah, it makes me feel better about the world, honestly.
Beanie,
yeah,
right?
Yeah,
He's the
it
bald
does.
guy with the
I feel
beanie.
better.
Oh, this is why you said beanie horny.
Beanie Man.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's just bald
No,
man with a beanie that's angry.
What about beanies? What?
He just wears a lot of beanies.
All right, I got to bring up Tim. I got to bring up an image.
And David, should we mention they're called toques in Canada? We don't have
they're
beanies
called
in
toques.
Canada.
We don't call them beanies.
They're called
here,
toques. Yeah.
They're called what?
Toques is a cuter word.
It's cute, right? Toques.
I have to be honest. I have to be honest, and I'm so sorry to my Canadian brothers, but that is the dumbest Canadian thing. Like you win in every other
much dumber Canadian shit.
This is terrible.
You have to beat everywhere else though.
You've never seen him before.
I don't know this man. Sorry.
Oh wait, I was looking up his social media.
He has one of the largest collection of political channels on YouTube. He's below Steven Crowder as the biggest political news person on YouTube.
This person, they go to him for news.
He's also a rock star. He just dropped a single.
He's a musician too.
Yeah, he is a musician. A billboard artist, mind you.
Don't treat it seriously, Mike. You're acting like he's like a real musician.
Well, he made music. By definition, he has.
Sure, I guess.
Made a song.
Whatever.
Oh wait, no. He's the dude that made the Nickelback song, right?
Yes,
basically.
Right, like this is real stuff.
Fair.
A political
Nickelback's much better.
commentator. Well, yes, it's coming together now. I only see memes about this guy. I have no idea what he actually does.
And he don't like Lance.
Well, I don't know if he doesn't like me. No, he likes me enough to bring me there to the compound. I'm excited. I got all expenses paid.
I guess.
Oh yeah, he pays for you to go. He completely.
Yeah, I'm excited.
You don't got to spend time.
Tim Pool for idiots. Come on. Yeah, let's talk about. Okay, so we got it. That's what Tim Pool is.
Okay.
Now, what is the controversy?
Okay, so this is content warning. Things are going to get a little grim. Tim Pool was not always this fucking vicious or vile, but very recently, and this just ramped up. And to me personally, and I think Mike is the other person who identified this, after the Pulse nightclub shooting, he was one of the people who, instead of being like, thoughts and prayers, we're really sorry this happened, that's truly a tragedy or anything like that, was just like, you threw a grooming operation, what did you think was going to happen? Hey, there were groomers there. We told you. People were asking for a wood chipper. What did you think was going to happen? Like literal quote, you know. And at that point, I was like, it's not even thoughts and prayers anymore. It's so fucking extreme, you know. It's like when did like common decency or civility or any of that shit just go out the window? And I was just like, well, they were all pedos. So what did you think was going to happen? And like around that time, I just started going hard. I was just like, fuck you, you deplorable fucking, piece of shit. And so like, I have not put on the brakes on that since. And so I often do get viral clips on Twitter where I'll post shit about Tim Pool. And so he finally invited me onto the show. So I don't know if it's because it reached a certain point. I think it's maybe because right now I'm getting clowned on very successfully by the right for the whole kids don't take puberty blockers take on Twitter, by which I was trying to point out, by the way, if I can just clarify one quick second. The reason I'm saying that is that I think a lot of the right are obsessed and fixated on trans kids, and they always talk about 1 to, I'd say, like the 10 category. That's what they like. Won't someone think of the children? It's not won't someone think of the prepubescent teens? Won't someone think of the teenagers? Mm-hmm. It's always like won't someone think of the children? And in that, like, kids do not get bottom surgery, mastectomies, puberty blockers. It's people who are going through puberty who get puberty blockers, and it's people who, with the permission of a doctor as well as their parents, they may get a mastectomy. Cis women get mastectomies. One of my best friends in high school got a breast reduction because her breasts were too large and it was giving her back problems. None of that is unusual. But you fixate on the shit. So I'm like, kids do not get the things you're talking about. And then they did that at community notes or whatever, like Seth Dillon, all these, like, they're hall monitor snitches. Every one of them, all the like free speech Republicans, they're all like, at community notes, Serfs wrong, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, you're all snitching on me. This is wild. All the free speech Republicans, you all became fucking cucked as soon as this shit popped off. All right, so fair enough. All of you are super upset. You're super happy that you got a community notes. I have a community notes tab on one of my tweets, and I think that's what provoked, because it was a quote tweet on Tim Pool. I think that's what provoked it. I think that's what he's like, we can bring him on. He's a fool. We'll get him on there. And I am a fool. Fair enough. But I'm a proud fool. I'll say that.
No, okay. What you said, Lance, was obvious and reasonable. But if you don't use language or speak with the utmost specificity, they will exploit any perceived weakness. They know.
Meanwhile, they fucking lie all the time.
Right.
And it's exposed again and again, and it's just like forgotten about like a day later. Like it's just and like they'll have crazy tangents. Like Peterson goes on some crazy. Jordan Peterson goes on some crazy weird tangent, and it's like
melting videos.
They still treat him with respect. Like it's just so the whole conversation. Look, as a cis man, I am exhausted by this anti-trans shit, and I can't even imagine how actual trans people feel about all this. It is an onslaught. It is never ending, and it is so fucking exhausting just for me as a person covering it. Like it's ridiculous.
I cannot agree with more.
These are the downsides of white commentator Twitter. I don't know nothing about. No, I don't even know most of these characters' names.
You don't need to. It's okay.
Honestly, at the end of the day, I don't consider, and people can feel how they want to feel about this, but the right to me are not a legitimate. I don't see them as people worth like engaging. I don't think there's any merit in what they have to say. I don't think that there's any value in their thought processes. I don't care. They are. That's how I feel about that. So to me, it's like in doing any kind of advocacy or doing the work or saying the things that you need to say to defend communities from being under constant attacks by bigots and white nationalists, these people are going to be mad. Like, they're going to be fucking hot. They're going to be dunking on you. Yeah, that's all. Like to me, the problem will be when they like what you have to say. It's when if they like what you have to say, that's when it's like, ooh, I didn't fuck that. Like, yeah, but like they're literally fucking extremists. The right are a bunch of fucking extremists. All this trans, all the things, they're just extremists. So they're gonna have a problem. Any reasonable thing is gonna sound real fucking wild to a goddamn extremist. So fuck them. And in the real world, we don't even come on over to Death Row Records. We don't even know what they're talking about. I didn't even know. I had no idea they was dunking. I didn't even.
I will say, I agree with you in like bird's eye view. The issue is they have an actual impact, and the influence they have is what is pushing anti-trans legislation forward. Absolutely. So that's why like we're caught in a situation where you address it and you in a kind of a roundabout way platform it, even though they're more popular than we are. But at the same time, if you ignore them, then they get to control the narrative.
Yeah,
so
there's no
right answer. Like there's no.
I don't think we should ignore them in the substance. I think y'all should do exactly what it is that you're doing. Everyone's doing. Like I think Lance, you should continue with the message. I just think it's not even worth to me as far as them as individuals. Like, what is the point of taking on the stress of getting in their foolishness? Because at the end of the day, it's a circus for them. They're not in it for any. This is not about principle. This is not about.
No, no, it's content. It's always content. 100%
this is foolishness for these people. Meanwhile, you out here actually care. You actually trying to advocate. You actually trying to deal with this and be serious. And these flipping buffoons got you stressed out. And all in the mud with them. It's like them, I mean, as individuals. Like if they talking shit, block these motherfuckers, block all them, fuck all them, la 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 la. But do what you doing, say what you saying, keep saying that. That's good. If they're mad, at the end of the day, they only bother to respond to what's worthwhile. If you're truly like not saying anything impactful, if it's stupid, if nobody would be swayed by it, they wouldn't even feel the need to try to like be on it, to be on you, to be on your head. That's the reason why they're trying to discredit you, So I would take that as a badge of I'm doing the right thing and to continue on with that. So yeah.
Yeah, agree.
Sense.
Thank you.
Well said.
Thank you.
There we go. Period. End of the story.
So what's the next thing?
People want to talk about Anna Kasparian, or I don't know how to say her name. This turf
This
thing.
another one.
David.
All right, we're gonna have a bit of a debate on this one.
All right, let's
David,
debate.
take it away.
Before we debate, who is that?
Well, let's
Please fill Kenny in.
so let's start with the tweet, which I think we can all agree.
So you're supposed to first tell Kenny who Anna Kasparian is and what the Young Turks is.
Young Turks. Is that like the whole...
So they're like the longest running progressive news show on YouTube. Great. They have like 5 million subs, I think, on YouTube, but across like Facebook, I don't know. They have a lot of followers, a lot of viewers, a lot of influence, generally, at least historically, on the left. And to be fair, have sort of been trailblazers in the sense that they have, allowed other people to sort of come up in that space. But apart from all that, so this tweet, which I'm not going to defend the tweet. I don't agree with it. I think the tweet's wrong. I think it's misguided. Let me bring it up here.
It's pretty bad. It's deplorable, as they would say.
Here we go. So, all right, I'll intro this. So Anna tweeted out, and this is sort of, this is, as far as I understand, this is unprompted. I'm not sure where this came from, but I'm a woman. People don't, please don't ever refer to me as a person with a uterus, birthing person, or a person who menstruates. How do people not realize how degrading this is? You can support the transgender community without doing this shit. So I'm not sure where this, I don't know.
Where did this come from?
I have no idea. It's worth, so before we get into criticizing it, because again, I don't agree with it. People that are friends with her, I will say Emma Vigeland on Majority Report today. Good friend of hers had a really good criticism of this. So I think hopefully people that know her well, I know her a little bit, but not, we're not texting. So hopefully people like Emma are in conversations with her. But I just want to point out that there's a lot of bad faith criticism online over this, like people just blankly saying that she's anti-trans now completely, that people bringing up stupid shit like the Armenian genocide because of the Young Turks, when they have both, first of all, Anna's Armenian, but like Cenk has acknowledged the Armenian genocide like 1,000 times. And anyways, really dumb bad faith criticisms. Also ignoring the fact that based on, so one of the things that went viral, or not viral, but trended after this was the Young Turfs as like one of the examples of how people are calling them. If you search trans on TYT, it's purely in defense of trans people. Like, you're not going to find one video that is criticizing trans people. It's endless content defending, talking about what the right is doing. It's endless. So to try and paint an entire network, and even as Anna as a turf because of one tweet that I think is misguided, I think is ridiculous. That said, I don't know why this tweet went up. I don't know what the point of the tweet is. I don't know. So a lot of people on the right were like, oh, look at this. Anna agrees with us. And, not to say, guilt by association isn't always a smart thing to do. But the issue is if they're all using your tweet, there's a reason why they're doing that. Right. So I think it's important at that point to come out and clarify. Now, to be fair, if you go through the replies, she replied at least to Carrie Lake as one example, because Carrie Lake, a terrible, person who ran in Arizona, pretends she won the election. She replied saying like a broken clock's right twice a day. Anna replied to her being like, you're a piece of shit. So she's responding to some of these terrible people and being like, hey, I'm not on your side. But at this point, if I was in her position, I tweeted something that was misguided, stupid, I would come out and apologize. As far as I've seen, that hasn't happened. I don't
So, David, I posted a link in our private chat. She actually just addressed this on the TYT main show briefly. I'm friends with Anna Kasparian, and I was kind of going back and forth with her publicly. I also reached out privately, and she kind of references this in that. And so if you want to play that, then I'll kind of explain to you like my take and the way that I approach this with her, because I agree that it's completely unfair to label her as anti-trans. Having said that, though, the tweet was really bad and it bothered me, and I privately like explained this to Anna Kasparian, but this is her like addressing it, and then we can kind of like go from there. I think
You're still really, really loud, by the way, Mike.
Am I really? Okay, let me adjust that again.
Mike, you're fine. Lance, you're super loud.
Yeah, you got super loud.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I'll turn myself down too.
If you guys
Sorry,
turn on
is this
automatic volume, it should like in the settings on StreamYard,
I'm gonna do that.
It should work.
Okay.
If you guys take that little bar and bring it all the way down, so there's no blue whatsoever in the little.
Got it. All right, we're good. I got it.
All right, let's play this.
C. Zerkley wrote in, I love TYT, but I'm kind of tired of getting the vibe from Anna, and even Jenk at times, that my plight as a trans man who could get preggers if raped offends her because she feels like birthing persons is offensive.
So let me.
By the way, we should explain as well before even that birthing person is not used on a regular basis. This is not a thing that people say it's only ever used in medical terminology. As an example, quickly before I show Anna's video here, this is a good example of that. So this is how the media has covered this stuff. This is the Atlantic, not even, I mean, they're right wing, but they're not like, Fox News. The culture war over pregnant people, and they're basically criticizing this. So but it's based off of stuff like this. So the White House blueprint for addressing the maternal health crisis. So the right, jumped on this. Oh my God, they used the word pregnant people 3 times, used women 230 times. Like they only use pregnant people in relation to when it's necessary, when it's discussing certain issues around pregnancy, right? Like, so this is a complete non-issue. It's a complete non-issue, and no one's calling Anna or anybody else a birthing person in an everyday conversation. That isn't happening. So
the only time I've heard someone try to use it, it's usually in addition to. It's like, hey, by the way, can you please include
exactly?
Not erase women. Like obviously this affects half the population.
And therein lies, and therein lies the fundamental problem and the true issue with what she said and that she said it. Because at the end of the day, she knows as well as we all know, as people who are all dealing with the news, that the trans community is under literally constant attack all around the country illegally. That is reality. She knows that. She knows that they are a political, right now, the Republicans are using the trans community as a political scapegoat for all of their bigotry and to come after tooth and nail, and there are real dangers to that. And as you pointed out, David, yes, they have covered many, many, many trans issues and stuff, so they know better. They are more aware than anybody what that community is facing. So to come out with what you know is a non-fucking issue, it's something that leans into right-wing talking points to give them at a time when a bunch of people are looking to legitimize their transphobia and legitimize this bigotry. So they are clamoring for people who they, especially people they like, people who they trust or whatever, to have these things that endorse. And you see that because all in the comments, you see people in our comments right now in this live chat being like, oh, what's wrong? And that's right. And she should be able and blah. And that's the fucking problem. And that's how it starts. And that is the larger problem, because at the end of the day, no one is stopping you from being a woman. Nothing. Let's talk about language, what language is for. If I'm talking to Black men, but I'm in a room with just Black men, I will say men. But if I'm in a room with all men and I'm talking to Black men, I would say Black men. That's how you distinguish who you were talking about. That does not make them less men. No other time is a distinguisher, a descriptor used to somehow dehumanize you, your personhood. This is a fictitious fucking issue. You know that you can call yourself a woman, which is why you proudly got up and said, I am a woman on Twitter. And you are surprised. You seem to be surprised that you're getting cooked, which says that you know that what you were saying, ultimately, you feel like I am a woman is not inherently a controversial statement. You could say that it's the rest of that shit. It's silliness. And like, listen, I don't think I put out a video, whatever, discussing. I did not say Anna Kasparian's name. I mentioned a tweet. I didn't say nothing, whatever, because I don't believe in jumping on or diminishing the whole person's thing or being in some spot with the person I like. Anna has been nice enough to me. We are mutuals. I've done an interview with them. She is nice enough. People have different views. They have the right to evolve. Yada yada yada. She's done good things, etc. But I think this is incredibly problematic, and I do think she deserves not to be dogpiled or to be personally attacked or to have her entire track record dismissed or to be called a TERF, although I am not a trans person, so I am not in a position of authority to say what they can determine is transphobia, what makes you a TERF or any. I'm not qualified to say that. But as far as feeling like, hey, this is incredibly fucking irresponsible and you did not need to do it, and importantly, I think the fact that wasn't even the discourse, it was out of nowhere. You already know that that's what they do with the trans community. They use it to distract from a million other things. So for you to come in and start the conversation of distraction is so problematic and unnecessary. So I didn't like that. But I like Anna enough. No shade on Anna, and I think she's a fabulous looking white lady. She's very popular.
I think maybe this might be a good situation in which I am, by proxy of not being super familiar with Anna. Like I've seen like clips of her off of the Turks or whatever, but I think because of that, maybe I'm looking at this a lot more neutrally, perhaps, and maybe because of that, my response is perhaps going to be a bit more poignant. I'm a Capricorn. I'm not really good at going around the so I think it's really concerning. I think the thing that gets me most is the aspect of her saying it unprovoked, which leads me to believe like you feel specifically offended by the inclusionary language that you talk about, presumably, in defense of trans people. Suddenly, when they're included within you, there seems to be this kind of aversion, like I'm being erased, which is inherently a TERF standpoint. No, so that's why people are calling you that. You may not necessarily identify with that, but again, unprovoked, you feel like you have to assert this thing as if it's being erased, and it's not. So the fact that you think it's being erased, I understand why people that again kind of look at you as a person who is spearheading conversation around protecting trans people and protecting and kind of talking about all of the horrible things that are going on in regards to legislation that's literally trying to kill and destroy the entire trans community. When you are that person that suddenly feels like, by the way, though, just so you know, I'm a woman, and it's like, huh? No one said you weren't. So it does give this kind of like undertone of like, why did you feel that was the fact that you said it is actually more concerning to me than whether or not, if you were to say apologize, say it was misguided. But if being that you are so knowledgeable of the things that are going on and said it anyway, I can get why she's probably getting cooked.
I will say
more
why
than the average person.
I will say without knowing. I think this is what her intention is. The Young Turks, especially more recently, they really try and talk to people who have been taken in by right-wing propaganda. So my feeling on this is it was simply an attempt to try and relate to some people who don't know enough about that terminology, are put off by it, and maybe grab them in a way to be like, oh, look, maybe I'll check out what Anna has to say on whatever, on other issues, because she's saying this. I don't think that's a smart strategy.
By adopting that position?
Yeah, that's why I don't think it's a good strategy. I don't think it makes any sense. But I think that's if there's any intention there, that's what the intention is, because ultimately it doesn't make sense considering their content.
I like Anna, but she came out on some righteous, indignant white woman shit. She did. That's what that tweet. That's 190%.
It felt very like I'm not being included. Why?
Right, this is the most great. And that I saw like another video that spawned off. I seen another thing, and this person was like, "Oh, why am I being erased? I feel disrespect." Oh, this is insane. This is the problem I think with when like we don't really talk about like white nationalism and the problem with like our like power structures and stuff as a general, right? Because if power inherently is about like maintaining power by subjugating other groups, what happens is we start mirroring that system in other ways, and you have other people like co-opting the same oppressive systems that hurt them or whatever with other people. And that's what it is now, because there's no other context. If people were like, oh, let's have more black people, we need to get more diverse racial representation in the room or whatever, we would know automatically. People that are quick to like endorse this idea that like trans women are erasing them would be the same ones saying, oh, that's racist. That is absolutely absurd or whatever to not want to have people included. But suddenly you're pretending now that merely wanting to include trans women has anything to do with you. It's insane how people, the powerful, switch themselves to make the victim, and we are that in this scenario. If we are as cis women, no one, our womanhood is the blueprint. It's that. No one, it's what's concrete. You are a woman. There's no challenge to that. You don't live in existence. That. So how are you suddenly making it that someone else's identification with womanhood, or someone being a woman, or someone wanting to be included, has anything to do with you? Like, it's fucking absurd. I understand it is okay to say I want to be called a woman and call myself a woman. Yeah, we all call ourselves women. The only time you call yourself, you would say I call myself a cis woman in a conversation where I'm distinguishing myself from a trans woman in a conversation. It's literally language, which tells me it's like there's something else baked there, or whatever, the inherent transphobia. And listen, I think I don't condemn anybody for what our initial yes, I see everybody in the comments. Anna said, oh, sorry, yes. And no one's talking about Anna in general. We're just talking about, we've moved on now.
And we will get to her video.
yeah, we've moved on. Okay, Anna's fine. We like Anna. But I'm like, if this is just language descriptors, and I'm not gonna condemn people for their initial you're baked into a society, I said all the time, that teaches you the default is to end up being on the side of usually pretty bigoted things. But it's the inability and the unwillingness to examine that and not to recognize that you see it in every other context. It's sick to see a bunch of black people, gay people, other gay people, and people just acting so willing to take the one opportunity to be above somebody on the social hierarchy and be so deliberately obtuse to the fact that you are implementing the exact same structure. Like, inclusivity does not exclude you, the person who has the ability to exclude. It makes no sense. We're women. Like, no one can kick us out. No one can kick us out. We have the keys to the woman club.
100%.
How are you acting?
I want to add other thing too, is that it's the right that are doing this kind of like biological essentialism, where you are a man if you have a prostate and a scrotum and a penis, and you're a woman if you have a uterus and the ability to give birth. That's the right that is doing that shit. They're the ones who are like, man equals dick, woman equals vagina. That's their game. We should not play that game, right? Like, we're the ones who are like, well, we have moved past this. Science has, our understanding has.
I have one thing to say about that, though.
Okay.
I have one thing to say about that. Is that people be bigoted everywhere. And I really think one of the things that I've been kind of like thinking about a little bit is we make these descriptors of like leftists are like this and right go like this, but a lot of it isn't. I'm gonna go off of my own experience, right? And I swear I can make this make sense somehow. So I've been thinking a lot about the ways in which my experience as a Black woman in Black communities, that there is a lot of things that are inherently socially conservative within that, despite, say, voting more left. Yeah. There's a lot of things there that are still inherently very status quo, patriarchal, homophobic, transphobic, all those things, right? And so it's easy to kind of say, like, I guess even if we're looking at this context, like, well, she's usually leaning on the left, so that is something that is other and therefore not being understood within our own spaces in which, and it makes it so that they're that, I'm this, and I don't have to do any reflections on the way that I still uphold patriarchy and homophobia and stuff like that. And I think this is a perfect, again, I don't know her very well. You guys seem to be friends, and we still need to.
We're not being self-reflective enough of our own inherent biases, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
And that's more reflective of what is happening versus
here. Even if we're using this as an example.
True.
Like, even if she has the history, for instance, of being more on the left, and that has in some ways been very much so, applauded for her within her own community, it's times like this where, okay, I personally think you dropped the ball. And when you decide to ignore that, we still end up in the same space, and how you have like Republican fanboys being like, oh my gosh, she got it right this time. Like that's an issue, right? That shows that is not as
the history matters. Like is that person salvageable? Like that's where the history matters. Is
right, but you don't need that. You don't need to like my thing. Like, and I was noticing this, and I was on Majority Report like I am every Thursday. But before I got on, Emma addressed the situation, and Emma had a really good take. Emma's great. But even Emma, she mentioned how, Anna's history and everything. And I mean, I know they've worked together for a long time, so I get it in her very specific case, because it's also where her background on Anna comes into play. But like every single person, even here on here, I feel like they're like, you feel like you have to say something about Anna Kasparian's history. And if I guess it comes up that like someone's comparing her to like Ben Shapiro or something, then yeah, you could bring up it's not the same thing. But you don't need to add that when you're just discussing what she said, because it has no bearing on what she said. Her history means really nothing to someone who is hurt or affected by what she said in that very tweet. It's just sort of like a pointless sort of additional comment.
I think it matters in terms of that thing. I think it matters in terms of like the pylon. Like it makes sense.
Well, no, I don't think it matters.
It makes sense to have an argument of what is wrong with what she said, as opposed to the person. Because a lot of the Twitter shit that was a lot of the responses to her were just fucking completely unhinged, and like it makes look. I understand.
Well, I mean, how do you think they feel?
To have bad faith criticisms, but to paint an entirety of an individual because of a single bad tweet.
I'm gonna tell you this though.
I think that's ridiculous.
I will say this didn't happen in a bubble. A lot of people were coming off of knowing her as someone who also had a really bad take on what was going on in California, really hyping into the whole crime thing. She went on Ben Shapiro's show.
Abolition.
Yeah, I mean she's and listen, I don't actually know Anna. My connection with her, here I go doing the same thing, but I mean, this is part of the conversation now here. My connection to her was she co-hosted the Jacobin Weekend show for a short time with one of my best friends, Michael Brooks, before he passed away. And that's my one connection to her. She followed me from that. She retweets me every now and then, but I never met her, never went on a show with her. I don't know her. Do I respect the work she's done? Sure. But it also means that like when she says something, it's on us to also that's like we disagree with or is wrongheaded. It's also on us to call her out for it without needing to like beat around the bush and tiptoe around the obvious.
Yeah,
I mean she had bad takes, and you should be able to mention those without like having to classify it as, but you shouldn't get mad at her for this because of her history. No, I mean, no one's mad at her for her history.
I think it makes sense if you want her to change her mind and to understand what she did wrong. Because if without that context, like again, that's why it's important if you know her that you do include that context, because she has to understand these disagreements are coming from an honest place, and we're not just doing it for clicks, right? Like that's so.
No, of course,
but that's not the same. That's not the same, though. That's not the same.
I have to say it. Oh my god, I have to say it. I like Anna, but I feel a little bit like this is the coddle the white lady hour. And you know why? And you know why? I thought this even earlier, because before this, the Majority Report put out a thing too, and everybody else, and I was like, boy, everybody sure feels the need to trip over their fucking feet to come out to defend her for getting cooked when all of the people get cooked all the time. I have yet to watch a video of anybody defending me from getting fucking cooked. I've never seen it. I've never seen everybody come out. She has a lot of fucking bad takes, and then she gets cooked because she comes out unprovoked. She asks to be cooked. She got up today and she said, Twitter, cook me. She has yet to delete the tweet. I want to make it clear. She has yet to delete the fucking tweet.
She hasn't deleted it?
You know why? Because at the end of the day, she took a 106,000 like tweet. She didn't even get ratioed. She didn't even get ratioed. She'll be all right. All right. She didn't like, oh my god.
I saw that Majority Report video that went up. It's exactly what Emma said on the show earlier today. And when I heard Emma say it, I was like, Emma put it great. And then I saw them put it up with the title that says Anna Kasparian is not anti-trans. I'm like, that's not the point. Why are you putting that as the title of the video? That's not the point.
She's not
And then
the concern,
it was an anti-trans take.
The substance of the viewpoint, she is legitimized. You see what I'm saying? The conversation has just shifted to defend. Like everybody's conversation is about defending whether or not Anna is a TERF and her career and blah blah blah, rather than talking about the substance of what she put out and why that is offensive to legitimize and why it's a problem for
and being held responsible for it.
Thank you.
Like
That's
normalize large creators being called out and being like, oh shit, I was wrong. Like, do you know how many times I've fucked up as a cis dude towards the trans community? How many times they've been like, I've had DMs from very prominent trans activists being like, Lance, you can't make that edgy joke. It's like, it's intercommunal. Don't do that. I'm like, oh shit, delete the
And
tweet.
now look at Lance. He's going on Tim Pool's show. Look how it all worked out.
I will say, like,
you moved to the right.
I hate you. I'm not doing your show again.
Well, can I also say too that I think that like the context is important about somebody's history, but to me, when I saw that tweet, the context made it so much more hurtful because she knows better. That was the problem with me. And when I reached out to her privately, I explained that it's like, this wasn't just like some random person. This is somebody with a history of very good LGBTQ plus arguments. And I brought to her attention this great video that she did like 8 months ago. So like it was after Roe v. Wade was overturned, where her and John talked about Professor Kiara Bridges. And she was talking to Josh Hawley, and he was pissed off that she used this term, people with the capacity for pregnancy. And his whole shtick was that, oh, well, you're trying to degrade women. Like, that was the subtext of it. And in that video, I explained to Anna that, like, you destroyed him perfectly. Like, you defended inclusive language. You said that trans men exist, so we have to acknowledge them. And like, to see you make that defense of inclusionary language and then say this, that's what felt like a gut punch to me. And I tried to explain that, like, it's not necessarily about, it's not about like degrading women. Like, just from my perspective, like, I have a family member who's non-binary, and they, as far as I know, have the capacity for pregnancy. So why can't they be included in these conversations too? Why can't we at least use language that's really technical and objective in specific settings? Like, nobody's, like, I'm not calling my cousin, a person with menstrual cycles or some shit. Like, this isn't a conversation that we're having with each other, but in terms of like legal settings or clinical settings, I want them to be included because for a decade now, they've been fighting for validation. And so it's not like you being invalidated, it's them being validated. So like, me reaching out to Anna was realizing that she can do better. And that's why it was so disappointing. Yes. And it bothered me because an ally doesn't have to be perfect 100% of the time as much as they try. Like, they should. So my whole explanation was that, like, look, I get what it's like to be on the receiving end of a pile-on, right? Yeah. And it happens all the time. And even I fuck up as an ally for trans people too. Like, last year, I don't know if you remember, I did a segment on Rising, the first time that I ever learned about Olay, and I purposefully misgendered an individual named M. Kyverson, who threatened to sue me as a result of that video. And I was trying to make the point that if you want to misgender trans people, then this is how it feels when it happens to you. And trans people were like, Mike, that's not the argument that we're trying to make here. We don't want to normalize any misgendering. And so, like, initially, I was like, oh, come on, man. Like, I got defensive, but I explained to Anna, like, look, we're all in these positions where we're imperfect allies. Like, we all, like, I'll never escape my own subjective experience as a cis man. Yeah. But the best thing that we can do is when we fuck up, don't shut down and harden your stance. Don't double down, as hard as it may be. Try to listen to good faith actors, because even though, like, as David points out, there's a lot of people that are bad faith critics that are coming at this. But the people who you should listen to are people who are good faith. I would consider myself good faith. Like, I've been very, very close, at least online. Like, we've never met, but like, me and Anna have communicated for years now. I consider her a friend. I feel like I'm someone who should respond and not have you shut down. Like, the fact that you shut down tells me that you have to be more introspective and not hardened. So that's like what I brought to her. And it seems like, based on like our conversation, that she is like, she kind of acknowledges where she fucked up. I hope she owns it and goes further, but that's kind of,
David.
Let's see if we can.
Goddamn Willy Wonka over here. Okay.
Great. Offends her because she feels like birthing persons is offensive.
So let me just address something, okay? For me, as a woman who has experienced endless debates, like, our bodies are so politicized. And I hate feeling from the right wing my entire life that our bodies are just meant for producing children. So the phrase person with a uterus for me is triggering. But I understand the importance of inclusive language. I just don't like to be boiled down to a body part. So Mike Figueredo from the Humanist Report reminded me of a video we did a few years ago where we were defending someone who used the phrase people with the capacity for pregnancy in the context of the abortion debate, I believe it was. I'm totally fine with that. I think that's totally fine. If that's what they want to use in a medical setting, great. But for me, my personal preference is I don't like to be referred to, even in the context of an abortion debate, as a person with a uterus. Person with the capacity for pregnancy, that's great. That's all I'm saying. I think I
got something to say
my track record on transgender issues is pretty clear, and I hope you understand that I have no disdain or hatred for the transgender community whatsoever.
I'm gonna jump out a window.
Yeah, that's. I thought I was expecting better than that. Honestly, I'm seeing that.
The two biggest. Wait, sorry, let me say this. The two biggest conservative figures who went after her afterwards, both of them were demanding that she stop calling herself cis. That was Glinner and Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh and Glinner, both of them were like, hey, by the way, you came so close, but you could never call yourself cis, blah, blah, blah. I was like, so you're telling a woman who's telling you that, like, I don't want to be told what I have to be referred to, that I have to not use these terms. So that's the right-wing response to this. I hope everyone realizes.
I'll say what I think the issue is. She has to understand she has a platform. It doesn't matter what her personal feeling is. She doesn't need to voice that publicly. Like
she didn't.
That's just stay private. Like talk about. You have to understand the power you have with your words and language, and it doesn't. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter how you feel personally.
What context?
I'm
sorry. What context is she being called? Like just walking around a person with a uterus? That's what I'm trying to understand. There's this this kind of like, I'm not being included or I'm being erased. Again, there is something by nature of her distinguishing that, where she's like, I'm so tired of being called a person with a uterus. And it's like, but if we were talking about it again in this, like, if we're talking about it in the abortion debate, because she brings up that in particular, then you, a woman, aren't the only person that is included in the people who are considered for the abortion debate. So why does it bother you to be called, for everyone who has the capacity to get pregnant, to be called people that have the capacity to get pregnant? It's a non-apology. She didn't acknowledge that you, for some reason, came out of nowhere talking about how you don't want to be referred to as someone with a uterus. But who is walking around calling you that?
Also, it's important to say. I hate when Anna has very slickly recharacterized what she did. It's very, and we're going along with the recharacterization. She did not come out and like, I don't like to be called that or whatever. There was very much a public service announcement style with a whole declaration of, I don't see a call to everybody else says, I don't see why that's not degrading and dehumanizing, and you can support the trans community and not be a part of that shit. She literally presented people with a talking point. You know what I mean? Like, hey, for something that, like, this is bullshit, hogwash, this level of like trying to slip that aside or whatever. That's one. Two, and again, I like Anna, but I'm gonna call this what it is. And I don't want to, and for the record, throw, like I said, all the bail, I'm a shooter. Anna first became known to me when she covered me on TYT, me defending Elliot Page from being dead named on Rising. So yes, I acknowledge all the work she's done, but this is, that's why this is some knowing bullshit, and I don't like the way she's sidestepping it. And second of all, I want to say this. This is the way that, and I want to call this on what it is, on the white womanness of all of this, because this is the way that white women act that makes some people feel like you're not real allies. And very much so, I want to speak to the Bill Burr joke of being in on the heist and not liking your cut, because this is the tippity top most privileged shit ever. Do you know how much shit, how many words, how many ways of classification exist in this society that I don't like as a black woman that you live with? I think I like every time urban to me and black people, urban all the damn time. I hate criminal justice system. I hate law and order. I hate 90% of the shit that we say and things that are a part of our fucking lexicon. But I don't get to make this level of declaration, like, oh, it's so bothers you can want to be called by whatever you want to call in your life. No one is stopping you from calling you a woman. People refer to you as a woman. You are a woman. Nothing is infringing upon you. But the fact that you unprovoked were so bothered by the idea of other people using this inclusive language that you even feel like you could make some PSA as though like people should not be using this because you don't like it, because it's not your preferred measure, is a level of privilege that is not being called out in this conversation. That's some real white woman shit. And I like Anna, but that is what that is.
Well, and to add on to that, as an example, might I add, J.K. Rowling did an interview with a reporter, and this is actually nearly verbatim the same type of language she used. And so for Anna to use J.K. Rowling-esque language is terrifying, to be honest. I don't know if you guys have seen that interview or heard of it. I'm sure you have. But J.K. Rowling essentially says that her uncomfortableness with the trans community, as she likes to call it, is because she felt that she as a woman is being erased by this type of inclusive language.
Yeah.
Didn't she say something like, what's the word for the thing that menstruates again? Woman, weeban?
Yeah.
Like, that was the tweet or something like that.
If white people was like, I feel like when white people start talking about they feel like they're being erased when we make the Little Mermaid black and stuff like that and blah blah blah. Racist. We all fucking know it's racist. We all in consensus. Everybody knows it's fucking racist. The same way when you start using this bullshit logic when it comes to my womanhood, bro, get the fuck out of here. Get out of here.
It's the
get
same
out of
argument.
here. Yeah, it's the same thing, my guy. It's the same thing. You just like this kind of bigotry. That's all. Like, that's all.
This is the bigotry that you feel entitled to. Like, there's an element of like, someone brought up in the comments, I happen to look over here, and this was kind of the feeling I was getting from it. I was like, how did this become about you? Like, it's like, we're talking about inclusionary language for trans people, and somehow you felt like this is personal. And it's like, huh? The only way it would feel personal is if you feel entitled to, like, I'm being erased as a woman. And it's like, no, we're just including trans people. Again, you've made this about you. And it's fascinating to me that, and I guess this also goes back to kind of the concerns that I started having when we were kind of like, you know, is she transphobic? Is she this? Is she that? It's like, why, again, regardless of what she is, she made this tweet, and being that you do have a background in being pro-trans or an ally, there is some space to feel not just hurt by it, but to question, did you ever feel those things that you, again, were so able to eloquently talk about? So when we talk about like the backlash she's getting because of that, there is a reason why. Like, if you are getting backlash to someone who's already had transphobic like rhetoric and they've said it, it's like not shocking that they still do. So I don't know, I'm struggling to figure out how, you know, in an effort to spearhead correction, I think the issue here is that, can you really judge anything based off of her history, based off of what she said? Because right now at present, she did all those things and then we're still here. So I think that's a big part of where people are struggling to move past it.
Yeah.
I think she was trying to explain her thought process, and the half that was missing was understanding the impact of the language, and that's the part that matters most, is the impact of the language, as opposed to how you personally feel about, you know, how you're called. And again, to your point, who's calling her this? Like, this is not,
well, and even in certain contexts, you can say woman.
Why is everything reduced to race with Olay? Olay is playing the race card. Hold on, let me get the next one.
Oh, God.
Your point
Typical David Doe viewer.
Listen.
You all realize YouTube is public, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're the chaos energy.
There's always some of your YouTube comments this week. I guess that's your audience now.
No, look at my YouTube comments. They're nice.
That's not people talking shit.
But listen,
Yeah, Binder from the ropes.
I am not one of those. I am not one of those black people that you think you can like shame out of like make me feel like I'm not supposed to mention race or the way that race is a part of things because I don't give a fuck. I want y'all to know that I do not live for y'all. I do not serve y'all. You don't like what I have to say because I'm going to point out what it is. The reality, and in this particular instance, I'm analogizing. I don't know if you've heard of that, but that's what I'm doing because what I'm recognizing is there's more of a consensus, a progressive consensus around race and racism and these particular things. So I was showing you how when applied there, all of everybody, a lot of the people defending these viewpoints or whatever out in the public discourse would have a problem with it if used in that setting. So that's what's happening here. And why I make things about race? Well, because America has. Okay?
I was gonna say,
I would love fucking girl. You think I don't want to be fried and go be cute? Okay. Yeah, no. The reality is that's what's going the fuck on. And I'm educated. So I'm going to continue to tell people. And if you don't like it, you can feel free to kiss my black ass. Thank you.
And also, it's just fair to say that if arguably there is something to be said about the kind of like falling on this. Well, I don't know if I want to say falling on the sword. Maybe I'm not as like out here as Olay because I'm like, there is this element of like falling on the sword to like defend, but it's just like she said what she said, and that's what's happening. Like, and I wonder to what degree people would, go out of their way to defend to such a degree if, she didn't have maybe her history or her platform, or if she weren't a pretty thin white woman. I don't know. There's something to be said about that.
Well, she gets the benefit of the doubt more so than anyone else. If I saw like a random person in a vacuum make that tweet, I'm saying, fuck you, go fuck yourself. But because I know and I have the context, it makes it better and worse, as I was saying, because it's like, well, you should know better. And also, one thing that I wanted to say also is that, like, even the word woman, that can be used in a context that is derisive. Like, I think it was Zach from the Vanguard today made the point that, like, if somebody yelled at you and said, hey, woman, down the street, that's pretty demeaning and degrading as well. So, like, the context really does matter in this instance. And, like, for me, one last thing that I'll say about this is that it doesn't have to be a zero-sum game. And that's what I really want to stress to people and anyone who feels as if they're like under attack by the left. It doesn't have to be a zero-sum game. We all fuck up. We're human beings. Take accountability. And when we call you out, it comes from a good faith place of love. We're all good faith actors. None of us are anxious to cancel Anna Kasparian here. But from this situation, I hope that she grows. And I hope that if I fuck up somehow and I say something sexist or insensitive, that she calls me on my bullshit, because we're not perfect. We all have our own lived experiences, and sometimes we're going to make mistakes as allies. It's just a matter of taking accountability and also recognizing the impact that we have as individuals with very big platforms. Like, to say what she said in the middle of an international crusade against trans people, that's what really makes it so much more problematic. If she said this back in 2014, it's like, okay, I disagree, but I'm moving on. But to say it now, it just felt like she should have known that she was adding fuel to the fire, to this like crusade against trans people. Like, she's giving the right exactly what they wanted. So, like, to me, it's not about like canceling Anna. It's not about like trying to demean her and erase her previous history. It's just a matter of, you fucked up. It's a bad tweet. It's indefensible. Please do better.
Cancel. Absolutely nobody is trying to cancel Anna. And let me make sure I say that before anybody want to clip 5 minutes of what it was an hour conversation or 10 minutes. Nobody. Literally, I want to let the record reflect. I saw Anna's thing. I did not quote tweet. I did not comment. I didn't say nothing about Anna. Whatever. This is, you know what I mean? Like,
we were asked this question.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Like, because listen, you're gonna have whatever say things, and like I said, I do not think it's a worthwhile thing to be in spats with commentators or whatever. Blah, blah. I'd rather be about the views, which was I made a video on Twitter that is circulating, talking about the issue itself. Yeah. No mention of Anna or Anna's tweets or any thoughts about Anna or anything like that. Because like I say, it's not about her for me. No one is trying to cancel Anna. She's fine.
And I have to point out really quick here. So I was also triggered by Jenk's responses to this, but I want them to understand where I'm coming from, because I understood where Jenk was coming from. So an example is that a couple of months ago, I did a segment on money in politics and I covered an article that mentioned Wolfpack, and the article misrepresented the organization Wolfpack, which Cenk founded. Cenk had privately reached out to me, and he's like, hey, people at Wolfpack think that you misrepresented them and whatnot. And at first, I got defensive. It's like, oh, come on, give me a break. Is this really that significant? But they thought it was. So I tried to do my best to correct it. I brought on one of the executives at Wolfpack to kind of explain what the disconnect was. So if he can understand why reaching out in good faith is important for growth, then he should apply that to this situation as well. Because I listened to you, motherfucker, so listen to me now. That was a bad tweet. Stop hardening your stance.
He doubled down more than Anna did, and it's guys, like, apologies work. Apologize. Nothing's wrong with that.
Yes.
People will forgive you if you understand the impact of your words, what you did wrong, and you apologize. Yeah, like nothing's wrong. Like,
it doesn't make you weak. You're not giving into the woke mob.
He made tweets about like thinking like staying in their position is making them strong. No, that's making you look like you're weak and unable to acknowledge that you said something ridiculous.
Exactly.
I want to also say one thing to all the chats, by the way. A lot of people are upset about being like, Anna, you're saying she's white, she's Armenian. I'm not trying to do erasure of any single ethnicity. I'll say this, like, my mother is native. I have a status card, and I'm white as fuck. I'm white. When I say white, by the way, it's because how do police interact with me? Police interact with me like a white guy. Okay, I don't sit there and they're like, oh wait, we have to do blood quantum on you, sir. We're gonna find out what you. No, that shit doesn't happen. White just means like, how are you treated by, generally speaking, society?
Hold on, is it Armenia is also
run a track? I'm sorry, I gotta stop this dead in the tracks. This comment says, Olay got famous off TYT, boosting her rant against Kim. TYT's on the right side, y'all being sensitive. Let me tell you something. Do not play with fucking me. Do not play with my track record. I'm a bitch who's been on John Oliver, The Breakfast Club. Everybody named Mama AOC shouted me out on The Breakfast Club. I told you to keep it fucking cute, baby. Keep it cute. I stay booked and busy. I did not get famous off TYT. TYT was covering me because I was already viral off that clip and my whole thing. Everybody covered me. Lance covered that. Mike covered that. That's how I. Excuse me.
Yeah, she got famous from me covering her because Kim Iverson threatened to sue me because of that clip. Okay.
Not to mention, Olay did mention. Not to mention Olay, you'd mentioned that already. Like, you mentioned how TYT covered, like, how she covered you.
Yeah,
like,
I noted.
You weren't like hiding this information.
I literally said that. Did I not say I did a courtesy? I did not quote tweet this woman. I say nothing negative about her. I've shot her all the bail that I could shoot her. I have acknowledged literally all the good things, all her track record. But let's not get beside ourselves in these comments. Don't you ever in your life? Ain't that something? Don't you ever in your life got famous on TYT? You and me fucked up. A bunch of people who know me ain't even seen that interview. What the fuck you talking about?
The random things that they say.
Is anything left on this topic, Binder?
We should move on.
To avoid controversy,
Blair,
to avoid controversy, everyone should just going forward call people nice, neutral terms like toots and sweetheart and honey.
You can call me ejaculating person if you want.
Call me person with a prostate.
David Dole, ejaculating person.
That's right. All right, we can move on.
Yeah. All right. Yes. So kind of in the same vein, though, some folks are asking, do you think that infighting among the left weakens the left?
Yeah.
And do we consider this infighting?
No.
This is constructive. This is constructive. We all love each other. Come on.
Can we fundamentally defend us? I think we are the only show like this with this many leftist content creators of different whatever in and of itself. We every Thursday convene and be good and nice and discuss our ranging of views. I think we are already leading the pack when it comes to we believe there should be no like infighting and blah blah blah. That's why we were saying you see all this bail we've been shooting, loan bail. We stay away from it. We do. We've talked about it like the whole first 3 episodes of the show. We were like, we don't believe.
I want to know though, like what is infighting? What constitutes infighting? If this discussion about what's happening, this discussion with Anna was an infight, like what is infighting?
I think
I mean,
people who would like Madeleine Albright is in if you're going too far. If it's like, hey, you should criticize a take because you think it's transphobic. Don't criticize a take because it's like, hey, you interviewed Madeleine Albright years ago. Then you're creating infighting, in my opinion. You're not actually criticizing a fellow content creator.
So that's just bad faith critique then, as opposed to.
That's true.
You're right. This is more sophisticated than we thought. Okay.
We didn't tell anyone to stop listening to TYT or don't follow Anna anymore.
Yeah.
No, we were just discussing an issue that happened, and that's it. I mean, I don't see.
Yeah, there's a key difference between constructive criticism and destructive criticism. To my knowledge, all of us are trying to get Anna to understand why there is so much backlash to that response. We're not trying to cancel her. See, this is why the Young Turks is fucking terrible. That's not what we're trying to do, obviously. And we're going to have these disagreements. Go back a couple of years, you see me and Kyle Kalinske going back and forth arguing. We even had DM arguments. Now we're Kyle's always been my brother. He just hit 1 million today. Shout out to him. But we have to have these conversations on the left. The left is not monolithic. Some of us are at different levels in terms of where we're at with regard to specific knowledge. We have to have these conversations, otherwise we can't grow. So you can understand that sometimes left fighting might look like that's what's happening, or this might look like infighting, but I feel like this is actually constructive. We've got to hash this out. You can't just allow people in our own community to say things that I think are really deeply hurtful and harmful and go unchecked. This is what we're here for. Call me out when I fuck up. We'll call you out when you fuck up too. It's just this is what we're supposed to do.
It's a microcosm of society too, right? That's what you should do amongst your friends,
right?
Your family, all that kind of stuff, right? It's healthy. If anyone here actually hangs out with other people IRL, where you're trying to do knock on doors, activism, direct stuff, everyone disagrees with each other, but you're still on the same pathway. We're all we're all together in this, right? Shit.
And people respect it when you do it the nice way. How I even first did my TYT interview was because, and Anna said it on the interview, it was when they were getting dogpiled on about abolition. I think it was Chang's tweets and stuff like that. Anna was I was one of the only people who was nice to her and how I addressed it in a helpful way. So I think constructive, there's a way, you know what I mean? Constructive criticism and talk to that person. People will come to you, they will whatever. It's when I do think there is a lot of infighting on the left that is unhelpful. I've said that. I think that
those people aren't on the left though. That's what.
No, that's true. I agree with that. The problem is, in the pseudo leftist town square on the internet, they are considered as such, and people decide
someone like fucking Jimmy Dore, who's obviously right winger. He had David Sachs on his fucking show last week. Give me a fucking break.
Oh right.
So when he's I'm the farthest left, fuck off. You're paid by the right. What the fuck are you talking about?
Do not trust anyone who uses that as his title. I am the most left of all leftism. I am the wokest of all wokeism. What the fuck is no? Do not trust. Red flag.
Point being, there cannot act there is no real infighting. Infighting does not exist because if you are engaging in those bad faith attacks for clicks, then you're not on the left. You're just a piece of shit, and you're doing shit for clicks. Infighting is.
That's true. See, I believe you. I believe you in reality. I believe that's true. However, the appearance of who people consider of that, you know what I mean? Who they consider their leftist voices, from the appearance of that, it looks like it's just a constant spat, you know what I mean? It's a lot of that. I feel even I would go as far as to say a lot of what I see from a lot of these people is just their whole commentating is just talking about what they think about what the other person said. You know what I mean? It's never just coming with I swear to God.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's never. It's never actually here's what I care about. You know what I mean? This is my platform. This is my agenda. This is what I am particularly, an expert in discussing, and I'm, building a philosophy. It's always such and such, and So I think the general answer to y'all's question, I think infighting is unhelpful, and it's always existed. I want to be clear. That's not new. People will paint it like it's new, or it's the internet, or it's the left now. There's always been infighting. You can read Huey Newton's book, and he's throwing shade at Stokely Carmichael, and for a whole essay and shit. It's always been a thing. People always been fighting on all levels of whatever. So yeah.
And we're the left. It's what we do. There was some, I can't remember, I'm going to butcher it, but there was this graph that was the differences between, the right and the left align because they both agree in guns and yada, yada. And then it's at the center, it was everyone hates leftists.
Really,
like, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. Like, even leftists hate leftists because that's what we do. We just shit on each other all the time. And
I've seen the crab meme.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good
that's
stuff.
fact. Yeah, I do think there is more unity on the right for sure, because of course there's unity in evil, because everything is acceptable when you honestly, if you can be absolutely evil, anything you do is acceptable. So why would you have been right? Like if you're trying to have like standard,
the entire right has this very like black and white understanding of what is and what isn't. You know, they have this very like I genuinely believe a lot of far right people see themselves as like superheroes, saviors, liberators.
Yeah,
you know,
main character syndrome.
Main character, and they see themselves particularly as direct opposition to whatever isn't this very
degeneracy, the downfall of society.
Right. Well, and also they have a very succinct and short-sighted, like myopic view of what that is, right? And so anyone that brings in a but, it's like, no. Like any idea of gray area at all completely deconstructs this very tiny viewpoint of life and about what happens in the world. And so they're like, I am an active, I have to save the world from this, and they all have the same idea of whatever that is, but the left doesn't really have that. And by proxy of having a more nuanced take, it means everyone's on different parts of that nuance, whereas they're just very much so libs. You're killing millions of babies, and Jesus, you're taking God out of the fools, and that's bad. And then it's like y'all are all together. So
no, exactly, facts. Yeah. Oh, I just realized that I forgot to tell y'all, the audience, shameless plug, that my show premiered, the first 2 episodes of my show.
It's so good.
Thank you.
I've seen 100% of the Illuminaughtii show.
I love that. I love that. The editing, my editor is amazing, and y'all should watch my Trump episode because the editing is phenomenal. If I do say so myself, it really gives me life personally. My hanging in hell intro. Thank you.
It's
Thank
damn
you,
good.
Thank you. It's cute. I like it. I'm a fan, if I do say so myself. I'm like, we like it over there. Everyone's like, oh, Olayemi, I came to hear you talk, and I'm like, oh, hey, you're not mad.
And I have to say, the random animal facts, I mean, that is ingenious.
Hell yeah.
What was the fact about koalas again? That blew my mind.
Well, what was the koala fact? It was that they have chlamydia. A bunch of mad koalas.
Like, what the fuck?
Have chlamydia in the wild.
And while we're giving each other a little bit of love and sucking each other off here and sucking ourselves off possibly, Lance's mind explosions, so fucking amazing. Like, I've seen all of them now, and waiting for the hammer to drop is fucking hysterical, where it's like, also, speaking of light, we should shine a light on this. It's so good.
Oh, fact. Oh, we're talking about content. I watched Blair. I watched your video on Butch Hartman, the Fairly Odd Parents guy.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. I was like, yo, I love Blair's videos. Literally, my friend, I made my friends full on fans of you, Blair. Right? They was hating, right? Because they didn't get. They was hating originally. They didn't get the triangle thing, and I was like, because you ain't seen a content. If I show you a content, I was like, he has more followers than all of us for a reason. I was like, come sit down with me. Let's watch the Fire Fest video, and they were like, oh shit, that's the guy. I was like, now you fuck with the triangle. Told you.
Blair, I was meaning to tell you this. Blair, the other day, my mom sent me one of your videos. It was like, have you heard about the Nexium cult? I was like, oh, I know all about the Nexium cult. I was like, yo, I no, this is my friend. This is awesome. Oh, I'm so excited. That's amazing. So it's got to normies. It's got all the way to my mom's.
Hell yeah. As it should, because that's what all of our content is really about, is about spreading a message, talking about what's going on.
Yeah, I like everybody.
Hell yeah.
I just to prove how much I watch everybody's contents, but I tuned into Lance's his show like multiple times this week. I'm fully in the chat. I get the emails, which I love Lance. I'm like, oh, Lance is streaming. Let me jump on. And I always watch David. I love David. I love all your thumbnails. I think you make the best thumbnails on your videos. I like them. They're very great.
Like sometimes like 30 minutes. Like I want to get the right image, the right angle of somebody. Like making a whole scene in the thumbnail. So I'm glad. I love it.
And then I was watching Humanist Report, and I was like, "Oh, this is the best professional intro background." I was like, "What is this? The news? Mike is the Kevin. This is the news." Then I watched Bender, and I was like, first of all, I watched Bender shit like 20 minutes after. It was like an interview with Lance, and it already had like thousands of views. I'm over here like, and then I go and I watch it. I'm like, Bender's like, I don't like, he's on stage. I was like, oh, how you think people don't know he's a short king? He's out here giving people full tours. Bender's going around the place. You watch Bender conduct business. Yeah, I watch everybody's content, and y'all know I watch bad movies to be every Saturday. I was like, oh, I like everybody. Oh, I like these people. That's why when people like throw shade at y'all, I go to Lance. I'm very mad. I don't like it. I'm okay with this. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Fuck them. Yeah, they don't matter. Yeah. And now Kenny's like, so is this the show? You guys just compliment each other for 2 hours?
Yeah.
That's weird. That's weird.
That's why we do this every week.
Yeah, we literally do this every week.
Well, and honestly, why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we?
It should be like a weekly thing.
True. We get enough shit online. Might as well like each other sometimes.
Yeah, self-love and celebrating friendship.
No internet hugs.
It's important. I've got to address Matt Bender though. So I rated Lance yesterday when you were both talking, and Matt was like, "Oh, how come you didn't raid me?" Well, guess what, Matt? I've rated you like 3 times, and you don't notice on Twitter because you're focused on the YouTube chat. So I want recognition when I raid.
That's true. All right, makes sense. All right, I'll accept it.
I shouted out. I was good. I was great. Yeah, it was awesome.
I believe Lance pointed out that being that he was gonna then raid my Twitch channel, that it was like you were raiding me.
I gave like a secondhand raid. You know?
Right, and I believe I compared it to a human centipede of Twitch raids.
Oh man, come on.
Yes, it reached you. You got the asparagus. It was great.
Yes.
Did you actually watch that movie? Because oh my god, I remember watching that and just being like,
you watched that, David?
Oh yeah.
What the fuck?
I'm not sure I finished it, but once I got to the first mouth being stitched, I was like, all right, that's.
Wait, you walked out? Did you walk out of the theater? Like, were you just like, oh, fuck.
Oh, no, I was at home. I don't watch it.
Oh, fuck this. I'm out. Wait, what? This is not what I was promised. What I was told,
not pay $15
Human
to watch
Centipede,
that
the motion picture, was about a bunch of friends hanging out. I didn't know they would have their assholes sewn to their mouths. What is this shit? Like, what are we doing here?
Instead of like watching the super disgusting movies, there's like YouTube channels that'll like break it down. So I've seen I've seen every Human Centipede by proxy, and it's okay. I won't. I don't have to.
They're terrible. There's no redeeming quality.
There's no.
I'm ashamed.
There's nothing about it.
The whole movie's in the name. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
You get what you buy on the tin. That's it.
I love. Speaking of Human Centipede, I think it was Lance that shared this meme of. I know, great segue. But Lance shared this meme of like Fox News to like Tim Pool to Jimmy Dore, Human Centipede. That shit spoke to me.
True. Okay, no, it starts with 4chan. It starts with 4chan, 8chan, goes into Tim Pool, normalized. So then Andy No, and then all of a sudden by the end of it, it's Jimmy Dore, then Tucker Carlson, and then it's news, and then everyone accepts it as truth. And it's like, that's not real. This was on 4chan like 4 Human Centipedes ago. But that's just like that's the cycle. Right. Yeah.
Wait, is there's an image of this? I want to see this.
There is.
Oh, I painted it. I did, yeah. There's
I think we even broke it down once on my stream, I think, right? I recall.
Yes, we did.
Oh, man.
Somebody's talking
deep
about
dive into this Human Centipede.
Somebody's talking about a TLM drinking game.
Oh boy.
I feel like there was one person that said like this was a couple weeks ago about a bingo, like a TLM bingo. I don't know where I saw this. I could be imagining this too. I don't think I am though. Where it was like, okay, bingo, one of the spots can be like whenever Mike cackles or whenever Lance cackles or Matt, because we're the 3 that like are very loud when we like laugh, apparently. And then there's other like there's other like different things that we kind of have like a signature now because we've been doing this long enough where we each have like our little things. But I don't know though. People would have to help us out if we were to create a bingo card. I think that'd be funny.
What thing we do a lot?
Of like what we each kind of do.
In the other group.
I feel like I could come up with this very easily. Someone remind me this week, and I will text a list of things to the Discord because I definitely know. Or y'all can tell us in the comments. Don't be shady though.
Yeah, be nice, or we will attack you.
They gonna say every time I take a smoke break. They so disrespectful. I already know it.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yes, no. What I was gonna say, you know what video you have, Kenny, that I watch all the time for no reason. It makes no sense. It's the most like illogical video to keep watching. It's your Ned and the Try Guys video.
People really like that video.
Apparently, I didn't even know who the fucking Try Guys were, but my investment.
Apparently, Eugene followed me on Twitter, and my theory is off of that video, but I don't know. He found me somehow. Because that entire debacle was just fascinating as a creator, like from a creator standpoint. I was just like, fascinating. Humans are so interesting. They really are.
I love it. I love that video. I've seen it so many times. It's unreal. I know the script. Like, I swear, I'm literally like, blow it up. Like,
I always love like finding out what people's like comfort videos are. Like I don't know what this says about me, but like one of mine that I go back to when there's like nothing to watch is either I put on Fundy Fridays, which is like a YouTube channel that kind of talks about like religious extremists and like basically Christian fundamentalists and how they've somehow got in government and stuff. So it's like
that's your comfort.
I have religious trauma. It's kind of
I do
fun.
too. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, it's like, oh yeah, my upbringing was wild. And then like, or I'll watch for some reason. Was it Lindsay Ellis that made a video about the Omegaverse lawsuits? That is a definite, like, big, different thing. I don't know if y'all know what Omegaverse is, but you don't need to if you don't. It's basically like, I'm gonna tell you anyway. It's basically like people who make fan fiction that's like incredibly disgusting in my opinion, but it's like everyone has like wolf personas.
Kenny, what you watching?
I be watching a lot of weird shit. It's really
like, the more you expound on this, the less sense it is.
And then apparently more than one person made a really gross Omegaverse novel, and the bitches start suing, and it was wild. I was like, oh my God. And then there was a whole video about the lawsuits. And then the lady that got called out ended up trying to sue the girl who made the video. So she made another video about that. Those two videos.
Those are
interesting.
What? Iconic. I love the beautiful silence of just like, okay.
There. I mean, I know how to follow that up, but I really don't want to because that's about to expose that I watch some really weird shit.
Go for it.
I want to know, Blair.
Okay. No. So this video, I'm gonna post the link in case y'all don't know what this is. I watched this video not as like a comfort video, but it's more like when I get really depressed from some of the topics we research all the time. And I don't know if y'all remember this. A couple of years ago, there was like this whole drama or whatever about this guy's channel. Doing a Jelly Belly pet rat review, and this dude just says everything the dumbest way. He's like, "G-lie, B-lie, gumai ratai." The whole video. This sounds so freaking bizarre, and it is.
You said that. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
I've seen that shit. It's giving me nightmares, literally.
Yes, yeah. I only watch it at this point when I'm just so frustrated with shit that I'm like, I need to like reset my brain by watching something so fucking bizarre. There's that video.
It's cursed.
It's absolutely cursed. And it resets my brain.
Here,
I feel like we should watch one just so people understand how bad it is.
Why not?
It's so bad. I'm so sorry for everybody.
What did you do to the stream?
Hello, this is RunForTheCube. Today we have a G-Lie-B-Lie Pete Rat Gumai Kandai. G-Lie-B-Lie Pete Rat Gumai Kandai.
Is this what Sacha Baron Cohen was making fun of?
So he...
What the fuck?
Bro, 19 million views. Think of all the time we put into our videos.
That's more than all of us combined.
Yeah.
All of us combined. Every single person here. That's more views.
Life is not fair.
Let's get a few more seconds of this. I want to hear this.
Yeah. Fresh Pete Rat, time to come here live. Escape the Pakaki. Escape the Pakaki. Pete Rat eyes. Very big and long. Very big and long.
I am so fucking sorry.
Oh my god.
I apologize.
I don't even
I'm
know.
so fucking sorry. I see Olay's face and I literally want to just fucking kill myself right now. I'm so sorry.
No, I'm like in a weird way hypnotized. I want to know where it goes.
It's like you wanna keep watching it. Like you're like, what's it gonna say next?
It makes me feel like this overwhelming sense of dread, and I like it's inexplicable. I can't explain it. Like there's something about it that deep to my core that like affects me in such a negative way.
Tell me that's
every
not a
video
good
like
mental
this?
reset. Yes, his entire channel is like this.
And every video gets so many fucking millions of views. It's goddamn.
This is unserious.
We could have been doing that instead of this, folks.
Unserious.
Well, just a quick left turn here. This cracked me up this week. There's a lot of potential freakiness to the idea of AI generated images, but oh my god,
I love these.
These are amazing.
Oh, they're so much fun.
So good.
These are amazing. Like each, like him running like this, like what? I think why these are so drama because we know this is never gonna happen. So like this is as close as we're gonna get to actually seeing this.
Go back to the first. Go back to the first one.
Cathartic. Oh my god.
I love the AI misunderstanding what it needed to do there and giving Donald Trump the little Billy Club belt buckle too.
Yeah.
Do you see?
And he has like 3 legs.
He's going for the dick.
It looks like.
Yeah, I was gonna say, whose leg is that?
There's one that shows Melania crying, and it's like, and Trump's the cop. It's like, it's so.
Melania would not be crying. Melania don't give a fuck
Oh no,
about
she would
Donald
not
Trump.
be crying. No.
No, she'd be celebrating.
Celebrate.
Yeah.
Why is there a man in that one? Go back one. Why is there a man in one of those like classic like Russian hats standing back there? Do you see?
Okay, so I have new information. Wait, I have information. Apparently, someone in my chat is saying the creator of these original pictures has been banned from using the Generation app. So they got banned for life for this. Yeah.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait,
where did you see that? Where did you see that? Whoever said that,
Random chatter is saying that.
Send me the source person in the chat. I got a which chat
to do.
Which chat? Your chat. Your chat.
My Twitch chat. Twitch chat, not the Serfs.tv one. The Twitch chat. Yeah.
These are just amazing, but yeah.
So I assume he didn't go to jail because I haven't heard.
No.
He's not gonna go to jail. He's at most.
No.
He's not gonna go to jail. At most, he
Maybe
gets
indictment for something,
maybe
but he's not going to
indicted,
be.
but he's not gonna go to jail.
We're not that
but
lucky.
I like that he's mad about it. I like that he's mad about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because
like, my friend, I was on the phone when he was talking about like, yeah, they're getting me on Tuesday or whatever, and I was in Target and my friend was like, ooh, Trump going to jail. I was like, don't tell me that. Don't tell me that because you're going to get my hopes up. And she was like, yeah. And then her mom was there and she was like, yeah, he said. I'm like, oh, man, I don't care what he say. Like, he always saying some shit.
It's like the one time we hope he's not lying.
Right. Like, man, you can never do nothing right. Just go to jail.
Oh, my God. This video.
Getting everybody hopes up.
Since we're talking about Trump, I'm curious. Did you all see the video of him walking in the rain with Melania? And it's so romantic. So he has the umbrella and he's holding it over himself while Melania's walking in the rain.
Sounds about right.
Husband of the
and
year.
they're locked arms, but he's just got the umbrella to himself. It's just, I mean, what a Chad, man. That's
wow.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's what
I
love
did find
is.
it kind of funny though when he was talking about possibly going to jail that he was like, "Hey, everybody, do that thing that I am possibly going to jail for," which is like, stop them from saying they can never get the evidence.
That's so funny. Go riot, everyone.
Everybody obstruct justice for me. So that
the best thing about that was that, like, I think everyone's burnt out. Like, you saw that. I think the zenith, the peak, was January 6th. That's where everyone, like, you know, all the small business owners had time to jump on buses or, you know, get out of town, all that kind of stuff. No one cares anymore. No one's gonna be like, I'm taking a fucking Tuesday off to go protest Donald Trump's arrest. Fuck that noise. Like, everyone's done.
I don't know, man.
Really?
If you go on spider climb up the wall for your democracy,
Spider-Man, the
then
Capitol
fall, I don't know, man. I think they might. You think they got better things
with
to do?
great power.
You think people that had better things to do were gonna go climb up the wall? No, they're gonna be right there complaining about how the LGBTQ mafia is taking away their gender or whatever and killing the babies.
No fact. No fact.
Oh God.
Oh my God.
For some reason, Trump's the cop, and then like,
Wow.
There
it is.
Wow.
But yeah,
So
I genuinely believe that it's not even about, to some degree, it's not even about like right versus left. It's so centralized around Trump in particular.
Oh, yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if, again, people who feel like he's, you know, some fallen messiah or whatever, he was supposed to be rightfully there, they'd go. Yeah. And he fosters that kind of thought process. So, which has been kind of refreshing to kind of see in some way, you know, the right kind of arguing or trying to tiptoe around whether or not they should be backing Trump to some degree.
I think it's better for Democrats if Trump wins the nomination. I think DeSantis is
yes, it absolutely
I think
is.
DeSantis has a better chance
It's absolutely better if Trump wins. That's why,
for sure.
100%. Because here's the reality: DeSantis, I think, is a far more scary and insidious character, and because people don't know about him, he's not as loud. People aren't politically engaged or whatever on him. They were not motivated to vote for Joe Biden. They were motivated to vote against. So if they have DeSantis, I don't think they're going to come out in the kind of droves and be as mobilized or as aware to get rid of a character like him, and he's going to be far worse. Versus whereas Trump, people are already like, oh fuck no, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think it might not be the same droves it was in 2020, but I still think it will be if it's Trump, people are going to be like, oh, okay. Gotta stop that. So I think so ultimately I think DeSantis is losing this right now to Trump, and I think that's ultimately better for us. So, you know, if Republicans really wanted to get at the bottom of their evil bag, they would get behind their man's DeSantis.
Can we also celebrate the fact that DeSantis made a career out of vilifying queer people, calling them all groomers and pedophiles, and all of a sudden he tried to do that passive aggressive shit with Trump? You can't do passive aggressive with Trump. There's no such thing. That's the only reason that Ted Cruz survived was he went aggressive. You can't be like, oh well, apparently I don't know anything about paying a porn star off. Pretty funny comment, right? And then he's like, you fuck kids. This motherfucker fucks kids.
I gotta find that Truth Social. That was just amazing.
You know, and like, what are you supposed to do?
Donald Trump does not believe in proportionality. He does not believe in proportionality. He's like, oh, did you tap me on the shoulder? It'd be a shame if I shot you in the face.
It's like every single attack on DeSantis, like you read it in his voice, and it's like genuinely, objectively hilarious. Where it's like, don't be surprised when a claim about an underage girl or a boy about you comes up, and it's just so fucking funny.
He's sickening.
I'm sitting here questioning though. Both aren't a great decision.
No.
No.
But
well,
but one of the things, and maybe this is a concern that I have, is that with Trump, we've seen a level of bad sportsmanship, to call it lightly.
Yeah.
And to see that happening again to some degree, I'm curious to what extent a second loss, for instance, could be a bit of a catalyst more so. They already feel like they lost it the first time wrongfully, and for him to lose it again, probably civil war, nothing.
Oh, that
nothing too much.
It's better he has no power though, right? Like the scary part is them having political power. Like that's where
absolutely.
There's some real potential damage to be done. Without that political power, it's there's of course his supporters aren't gonna go quietly into the night. Like there's gonna be something coming to a head at some point over something. But it's I don't know. There's how else do we avoid that? You know what I mean? Like there's no way to just change the
either way. It's gonna be ugly. That's kind of like my perspective.
Yeah, it's gonna be ugly. I guess maybe that's me. I'm trying to sit here. I'm like, what is the least ugly way for this to happen? But at this point, it's so messy already.
Yeah, it's gonna get rough. It's gonna get hectic. Y'all might as well. Y'all already know it's gonna get hectic. Listen, when Marjorie Taylor Greene is like, hey, she's like, whoa there, hold on now.
I just want to focus on drag queens reading for children. That's
that's not good. That's not good. Something's going on.
Yeah, it like they understand. Even they understand what they've emboldened, because let's not forget. They were fucking scared. Was it Josh Hawley? Was it Josh Hawley who we saw running for his fucking life?
Josh Hawley. For freedom, brothers. Let's liberate the country, brothers. Go. Come on.
That is the funniest shit. When you think about it, really think about this, right? In your life.
How do you live that down?
When in life does anything happen that you just break off running? Like, you're not scared in real life? Start running like that is so not a thing at the bottom. So imagine the stare. My man was in a full sprint in dress shoes.
I will say one of the greatest like dark comedy moments was kind of because whenever something chaotic is happening, Twitter is a free-for-all. Particularly Black Twitter is a mess. I have never laughed so hard in my life. Was the day that they were climbing up the walls and falling off the building. And I saw a tweet that was really hit me at the soul. They were like, I don't think we talk enough about how actually January 6th was also incredibly funny. And it's like, I hate to say that. It was also some of the wildest shit you've ever seen in your life. And I'm like, damn, I hate to admit it, but it actually was. Just watching people literally fall off of walls when they could have took the stairs.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy to
hilarious.
me.
It was embarrassingly American is what it was.
That's true.
It was so embarrassing. I remember just getting really drunk and watching it like, what the fuck is going on?
What I think is hilarious is that every single black ass we've had on this show, unprovoked, unprompted, has commented on the hilariousness of that exact thing. Gabrielle did. Rebecca did. Every single person, including me, on their own was like, hey, January 6th, the stairs, and specifically the stairs. We have laughed about that. That is the justice on giving.
Because, like, why do people like to climb on shit? I don't understand. And I've always had that question because whenever you I remember one time I was traveling, I was in Korea, and I was drunk on the street just watching people climb up trees, and I was like, why? Like, why? It was like white people from the U.S. came over for vacation, got very drunk, and started climbing on stuff, and it always makes me wonder what is going on. Because climbing is fun. I disagree, whoever said that, but okay.
Now that you mention it, Kenny, like I tried to climb a tree when I was drunk one time, so maybe there is something like.
I swear to God. Okay, making everything about race. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make everything about race.
We need to bridge the gap on this one. This is about race relations, everybody. We're gonna explain.
I was trying to avoid it, but I'm gonna make it about race. Every drunk white man I've ever met starts commenting on shit, and I'm like,
it's
yourself.
It's true.
No,
What
that's
is,
fine.
sorry, it's the white man's confidence. All right,
I was
we don't have a choice.
Y'all
We
reach
don't have
the
a
level
choice.
of exploration.
I feel called out.
Y'all reach the level of exploration that comes from.
We don't think there will be consequences for our actions.
Trying to conquer trees, can't help yourself. Get drunk and start climbing on stuff and try to
Right.
take it over.
You know what makes it so much more incriminating for me? And I don't know if he remembers this, but I made my husband film me, and I watched it the next day, and it was so unimpressive. Like, I just grabbed onto the tree, and I, like, kicked my feet up, and then I just, like, hung there, and then I just dropped. It's like, but as I was doing it, I'm like, no, you've got to film this. It's going to be so fucking cool.
No fear of gravity, man. This is what I mean.
Something I've never in my life done. Never in life have I started climbing. Nothing.
I've
No.
never gotten higher than I needed to be, and that's what I mean. I'm curious where that comes from. I've conquered
Because they done conquered everything online. And they gotta reach for the sky. Like, no glass ceiling for me.
I should try to find that video, actually. I know it's on my phone.
Who are we canceling and uncanceling?
First, I just want to quickly bring this up. It took me a long time to find this because Trump goes wild on Truth Social. I don't realize how much he truths out there in Truth Land, but this is how it's like. DeSantis is done. Like this is a,
oh yeah.
He says here about DeSantis on education, Florida ranks 39th in health and safety in the country, 50th in affordability, 30th in education and childcare. Hardly greatness there. And the fact is, Ron is an average governor, but the best by far is the country in one category, public relations, where he easily ranks number one. But it is all a mirage. Just look at the facts and figures; they don't lie, and we don't want Ron as our president. Like he is, and this is one of many. Like he went like there's like
seems
kind of
to have this like hyper focus in particular.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I love to some degree. I love how transparent his foolishness really is, which is a little concerning that so many people are fooled by Trump. It seems so obvious.
They love it. They love the most brazen white supremacists. Who can be the most brazen white supremacists of them all?
Yeah.
All they care about is the alpha in the room. Who's the loudest? Who criticizes the most? That's you can't. DeSantis can't compete with that. Like there's like so Trump has to be behind bars for DeSantis to win. Like that's the only way.
Says the thing that everyone's thinking, quote unquote. You know, that type of foolishness, but.
I just wanted to put a comment on the screen because after David said he truthed, somebody put this up and said he truded.
He truded.
You truded. Are there other people on Truth Social but Trump?
It's pretty much just him. Yeah, it's just him and people who reply to him.
I mean, I have a pretty big following on Truth Social now. I have 4,000.
What's that?
I have 4,000 followers on Truth Social.
Oh, you're on there?
4,000
no, of course
followers
not.
on
Of
Truth
course not.
No, deadass. I
gotta get on. Yeah.
I was like, we might have to cancel you this episode.
No, I deadass thought it was. Isn't it? Okay, isn't it his app, or is it just like other right wingers in general just wanted something as an alternative to Twitter?
No, it's his. He's financially he's financially invested in this. Yes.
And this is what I mean. They are so coordinated. They all got over there to complain on the same app.
I'm telling you.
You can't get that many people to switch apps.
No. They keep trying to tell me to get on Spout and Spoutable and all
yeah,
those
people
other
always trying to get me to get on.
You're on Spoutable.
And everything. You can't get my ass on nothing else. But they said, hey, they are the what is it? The mainstream media is trying to like silence my loud ass, so I'm gonna make my own app, and they actually went. This is what I mean. They're coordinated. That's why I'm like, don't necessarily underestimate the idea.
Well, they can win a primary. He can win a primary. He can't win a general like this.
Yeah.
Like this, especially after losing the election last time. Like it's not.
No, there's too much shit. It's too crazy. Like
I have very little faith in America. Maybe that's why. I really don't. I don't trust us. I don't trust it. Like I don't.
Trump would let it go. He's really like. It's really annoying. I'm like, because my guy, you didn't even originally, you were so shocked you won in the first place. You couldn't believe it. How we gone from that to you won't let it go. You already done did it. You did it. You was president. They like impeached you twice, my guy. Like, just chill out. Just chill out. You're rich. Go do other shit. Why are you so into this now? Like,
I will say, the fallout has resulted in me finding like some cool YouTuber people that were covering like the lawsuits in particular. Shout outs to Legal Eagle.
No, it's great. Legal Eagle's good.
I like Legal Eagle. I'm
He's
just
good
being like a good nerd, just sitting there like, oh man, I could take the LSAT now. I believe it. Overly so. Didn't study for shit. I got it. I could go to Harvard Law. So it was great following, it gave some sense of security when he was, doing all the lawsuits. Like, we're going to figure, because particularly I'm in Michigan. So he was trying to sue Michigan for like, voting shit, trying to hide ballots or whatever. And I was just like, please let this not be a real thing that he can base anything off of, which I knew it wasn't, but let's hope he has no legal standing to say anything. And it was just so validating. He's like, absolutely not. He's going nowhere with any of these lawsuits. I was like, oh, okay, good.
That was a scary
All right,
time.
should we cancel, uncancel?
Everyone wants to uncancel and uncancel Anna, but I do also like the idea of canceling Anna and then uncanceling a very based white woman at the same time who happens to be Lindsay Ellis. I like that suggestion as well. Lindsay Ellis is pretty awesome and maybe deserves an uncanceling. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Who's Lindsay Ellis?
Who is that?
He did the Omegaverse video, but I don't know much about her cancellation. So
her cancellation that she actually left Twitter for was unfair. It was a misinterpretation of a tweet she had made where people were interpreting it as being anti-Asian, kind of like a racist, where that wasn't the purpose of the tweet. But the backlash was so intense, she was like, fuck this, I don't want to deal with it anymore, and then like deleted Twitter. But it was not a fair, like, the people who were going after her for that tweet, there's other things you could have gone after.
No way, that happened on Twitter? Unbelievable.
Yeah, I know. There's other things you could have canceled her, not even canceled her, but like criticized her for, or other takes you could, and she's openly said, yes, those were bad takes. This is my shortcomings as like a white woman, etc. But that was not it. And so that's why I'd say it would be fair to uncancel Lindsay Ellis. But that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, I follow her, but I don't know who she is or why.
I've seen she makes long form content. Well, I think she's officially left YouTube as well. So I wasn't quite understanding what was going on in regards to that, but she makes long form content, and that's what I'm really into these days, is people that make essentially documentaries.
This woman has 1.21 million subscribers. That seems like somebody who's doing better than me in life. I don't feel like I can do anything for her. Seems like she's doing all right.
This can't be the standard. This can't be the standard.
But it is. Look canceled to me. I don't have a million subscribers anyway. I'm like,
all right, fair enough. Well, I rest my case then.
I guess I'm out. Yeah, I guess I think the favor we can do to fans this week is we won't bring charges against any popular beloved white woman commentator. No charges. No one will be uncanceled, but just leave it alone. We declined to prosecute.
We had a full conversation. You don't have to bring that back up again.
No charges.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I should have came prepared though. I have no idea who I would bring up.
I guess we never have I don't know. We need a new running segment.
Yeah, maybe we need to change the segment.
Or animal facts. Or is that your thing?
There's not enough content to feed this.
Me. Fair.
What if we do a segment where if we can't cancel anybody, then we like shout out smaller leftist content creators or journalists or stuff like that? I really like shining a light on these people who are trying so hard with the algorithm fucking them up. It's
First
tough.
up, the Rational National. He's a really good guy. Does a lot of good YouTube content.
I'll give a shout out to Foreign Man in a Foreign Land, the YouTube channel. He makes amazing videos.
He's
They're fucking incredible. He's so funny, and he's Bahamian. I don't know your personal friends. Oh, damn.
Yes.
I would not have assumed that. I think that would have been a little weird for me too.
It's a very tiny island. You should.
Foreign Man in a Foreign Land. He's fucking awesome. I love his videos.
Yes, we love him. Yes, that's my boy. I think he's putting out, me and him have a thing of his show, a video he's putting out like next month or something. Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, so for him, you know who I like? Hold on, let me tell you what it is. I follow a bunch of random y'all know.
Ooh, FD Signifier is great. Whoever shouted.
He is great.
I love FD, yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome.
That guy on YouTube, he does like Degrassi and like those kinds of videos and like shows and stuff and Euphoria, all these kinds of takes. Anyway, that guy is like this. I love him. I love this channel. Very good. And I like, yeah. That's my one. I'm going with that guy.
I want to shout out Kimra Luna from Riot Doll Society. They are a non-binary two-spirit Twitch streamer and abortion activist. Yeah. And I just discovered them, and they're great. So I just want to give them a shout out.
What's the URL?
It is twitch.tv/KimraLuna_. KIMRALUNA. Yeah, it's always fun, like discovering new content creators, Twitch streamers. Yeah. Like I really enjoy like discovering like what the youngsters are saying nowadays, right? Like I'm a boomer in this space, but seeing what the youngins are up to is really nice.
Yes. Okay, so that's what we should do. I like this.
Yeah, shout out other people.
Probably a better tradition.
Yeah.
Canceling people.
Yes.
Although it could be a pitfall because when I first got started, I shouted out people like H.A. Goodman and he went on to become a mega chud. So,
I don't know how you ever thought he was not a weird person.
I thought he was weird.
Wait, what happened?
I thought that he was weird, but at the same time I thought, okay, maybe he's just a little bit clumsy in the way that he like presents information, a little bit too hyperbolic. No, I need to be more careful. I'll just say that. But
to be fair to you though, you helped lift me up at the beginning. I think you must have been the first channel I was actually on in an interview, and like, yeah, absolutely.
Aww. Huh.
Mike, like, oh, what a big moment for you and an inconsequential moment for me.
Yeah, Mike, what? I forgot about that
completely. And now look at you, David. You passed me, motherfucker. No, but your content is good though. Like it's like you produce bangers. Like I watch your shit after I finish my stuff because it's like if I watch your video on a topic that I want to talk about, I can't. Then it's like okay, I'm just gonna end up repeating what you say because you make good points. So I've got to like do my segment and then I could see what other people say.
Absolutely.
If I'm not sick of it, of course, because brain rot.
Absolutely. All right, are we done?
Okay. Yes, thank you so much for coming, Kennie.
Yeah, Kennie, can you tell us your socials again one more time?
If you want to find me, I am Kennie JD on most social media. I mostly make videos on YouTube, so check me out there. I'm also like incredibly chaotic on Twitter. I have an Instagram, but I don't post on it very much, so do with that what you will. But I want to try to do it more again.
Time where we riot. That's crazy in the comments. Damn, I really thought I was gonna get away with it. No one said nothing. Oh shit. I guess I'll.
Thank you. Someone said you are funny as advertised. Thank you. I second guess sometimes. Okay.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Subscribe to Illuminaughtii. Watch my episodes. Do that. Subscribe to Illuminaughtii on YouTube. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Take care, folks.
Oh, youtube.com/MattBinder before I forget, and twitch.tv/MattBinder. There you go. Yeah. All right, everyone. See you
all next week. Well, folks, that was a ton of fun. Before I leave, I just want to take some time to make sure that I see any super chats or any Twitch subs or anything like that. Sometimes we have them, sometimes we don't. But let me just check so I don't miss them real quick before I jump off here. Let me see. Okay, no super chats. Let me check Twitch real quick. Oh, Jody Shody rated with a party of 7. Thank you so much. I missed that. We've got a gifted tier 1 sub from Wem Lee. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate that. And I think that's it. I think we're good. Well, folks, I'll see you all next week. It's been so much fun. Take care.